Christian singles, we have been doing this all wrong. What are you talking about? I'm talking about this dating life. Girlfriend and boyfriend ain't mentioned nowhere in the Bible. You have singles and you have the married. Well, wait a minute. What about the concubine? Where in the Bible did it say God's hand was in that? I'll wait. Refer to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. God is nowhere in your fleshly fast tail ways. In fact, the word says it's better for you to marry if you struggle at keeping it in your pants to yourself. The 2020 statistics show us that there are 102 men for every 100 women that are out there in the world. In the United States, the ratio is slightly smaller. For every 100 women, there are 98 men out there. Now keep in mind, those numbers cover both children and adults. Some people have been called to a life of celibacy. God did not intend for them to ever be married, and they know that. When you look at the numbers in that line of sight, there's more than enough for one woman and for one man to come together in holy matrimony. I'm pretty sure some of the women stateside are kind of like, live in a world of supply and demand. And it looks like my supply of man is low. I need to snag one as soon as possible. Bars. Which may be a reason why you see more women exercising their masculine side by approaching men, participating in manipulative tactics for men, even to the extent of fighting for men. And on the flip side, you have more men operating out of fear and insecurity. And some lack stepping up to the plate because they look for the woman to lead them. Men, women, let me tell y'all something. The way that you get them, the way that you're going to keep them. Imagine living in a world where women remain a mystery until the consummation of marriages. Or a world where men stepped up as fearless leaders, finding a place where they can safely express themselves emotionally, all the while lifting God on high. Let me tell you about the original plan that God had for this unionized world. Everyone is very familiar with the story of Ruth and Boaz, but not enough people break down the details of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth is a Moabite woman that married into the David legacy. Ruth and Boaz are David's great-great-grandparents. She came to the land to take care of her mother-in-law in her last days while she was working. She wasn't sitting there waiting for him. She was working. Boaz noticed her. He noticed her. God brought Ruth to him. Proverbs 18 verse 22 tells us that a man that finds a wife finds a good thing and he obtains favor from the Lord. Those of you out there that's seeking marriage, God has already put you on game. Women, mind your business. Keep your head down. Keep doing your work. Stop looking for him. Men, and God will bring her to you in the right season. All of us should continue to do like James 1:4 says, which is let patience have its perfect work, that you may be entire, lacking nothing. And now you may be focused on the fact that you're lacking a marriage. James said to be complete and lacking nothing, meaning you're financially secured, meaning you take care of your responsibilities, meaning you can take care of you without a partner. Once you get into a marriage is not about what you can get, it's about what you can give. If in your single season you did not prepare for your harvest will reflect just that. You put that in a way that you might understand it in your flesh. Pray for a wife or you pray for a husband. You go to the Lord and you ask him and say, Lord, I want a man or a woman that can lead me and keep me straight and narrow on the path to you. The Lord is going to look at you like, well, what are you doing right now to try to do it for yourself without that individual? Remind me one more time what that famous saying is that they say on the plane. Secure your oxygen mask first before assisting others. Marriage is not two halves that come together to make a whole. Marriage is two whole people coming together to lift up the Almighty One. Ruth is not the only example that this is demonstrated in. It was God that cleaned Esther up and brought her to the castle. It was God that sent the servant to fetch Rebekah for Isaac. And again, it was God that pulled Eve from the rib of Adam. God is a man where his word never comes back void. God gave you the vision that you would be a married man or a married woman. Trust and believe, woman of God. He will move you into the place, into the line of sight of where your husband's at. And man of valor, you can always trust that God will remove all of the distractions and highlight that woman of God that he intended you to have a purpose with. God does not need your hands to assist in fulfilling the prophecy that he has over your life. That's how Ishmael came about. You can start reading that story at Genesis chapter 16. He requires your obedience. He requires your patience. And most importantly, he requires your faith. If the Lord said a thing, his word never comes back void. My God is a promise keeper. Make it come to pass in a world of polygamy. He can make it come to pass in a world of cheaters and manipulators. He can make it come to pass in a world of selfishness and isolation. My God is an awesome God. Sis, slow down. Listen carefully because God's going to tell you how to move in this line of sight to where your husband's. Brother, slow down. First, get to know yourself in Christ. And then lean and depend on God for all of your discernment about the things that are happening around you. Humble yourself. Listen and wait on the Lord because the fields are ripe and ready for the harvest. In Jesus' name.